All right. We want to welcome everybody to Minty Shopper Pulse webinar. We're super excited to share with you today a national study that we just conducted. Joining me, first of all, I'm Rodney Mason. I'm Chief Marketing Officer for Minty, and we'll share more about Minty here in a minute. But joining me is Liz Sins, and she is Director of Marketing and Sales Operations. So we're super excited to have Liz because she's got great insights from both consumers and what brands they're doing in the market right now. A little bit of housekeeping. There's an opportunity in here in the chat function if you want to send us questions, and we have time at the end, we'll address those. We're going to go through this research and we'll share it with you afterwards. And so let's go ahead and jump in. Okay, just a little bit about Minty. If you're not familiar with Minty, because we rebranded, Minty's been around for over 10 years, but rebranded from a couple of other brands, SafeOpt and Ad Shoppers, and it's now Minty. Minty is the AI shopping companion that proactively unleashes savings that matter most for smart shoppers, creating more loyalty for the e-com brands they shop. Minty is the pioneer in proactive commerce, has hundreds of millions of shoppers, and is ranked a top 5 e-commerce tool that generates incremental revenue from high-intent shoppers without disrupting existing marketing channels. We'll share some examples of that in here in just a little bit. But you'll see here with the Minty obviously ranked a top 5 e-commerce tool. Some of the other top 5 include PayPal, Shopify, Shopify Plus, and Salesforce. So a really nice company there. And you'll notice there on that website there's a pop-up. It says get up to 5% cash back at Rebag today. That's one of the ways that Minty intersects consumers so that they can save more and get more value when they're shopping. Next slide. There we go. All right, so we're super excited. We recently announced that Minty is the first savings app in ChatGPT. And AI has really changed the way consumers are shopping. We have a study coming up, which I'll talk to in just a minute. In just a couple of weeks, our back to school study really explores how people are shopping with AI. You're going to see some of it in here today, but AI is changing in a just massive way, changing in the way that people are shopping. And we're so happy and proud that Minty is the first and only savings and cashback app in ChatGPT. Very easy to use in there. If you can go to the next slide, we'll just show you. You might go into ChatGPT and you might say, hey, I'm looking for swimsuits, or who has the best swimsuits, or who has the best cup sheet. And if you have your Minty app, which you get from the ChatGPT App Store, riding along with you, not only will Chat give you its feedback, but it'll say, here's some values and savings that Minty has found for you. And when you click on the site, you see the Minty pop up, and there's another way to save, not only getting the best prices, but also the cash back opportunity. Just one of the many ways that we are leveraging our AI. Our tool is actually Minty. If you go to minty.com, we have an LLM, so it works very much like Chat or some of the other AI tools you've used. Really, from a savings perspective, we're completely focused on shopping. So anything that you're looking for, you can go in there and find best value. And it doesn't matter if there's cash back or coupons, it'll show you what the best values are. So we encourage you to go to minty.com. All right, next. We want to share some other news, and we are going to get to our study, I promise, but we've got a really exciting event. This is taking place in Miami. It's Minty's first ever pop-up. It's the real-life manifestation of Minty. We're going to have a multitude of brands live on premise, and we're going to have lots of VIPs, celebrities, creators are coming, and you're going to actually for folks in Miami, this is during the International Swim Week. We're having a pop-up in the neighborhood over in Wynwood, really famous arts district. And it's going to be 3 nights. Our VIP is the first night on the 28th, and then open to the public on the 29th and 30th. There are going to be art installations that our brands are going to participate in. And the art installations actually bring Minty to life. Minty is our dog and our mascot, who's going to be running around giving people extreme values and savings there at Wynwood. We'll also have a DJ, food, open bar for anybody with Minty on their app. And we're super excited about this, the first of its kind in the industry, and we're changing the industry. Right. And then I did mention to you our back to school webinar. We're super excited about this one. It's on June 2nd. So I encourage everybody right now just to um, snap on the QR code there and go ahead and save that in your phone so that you can register. We will send out the link later, but we would like you to get registered because we're going to reveal the 9 ways that people are AI shopping. And this is a national study. So it's all backed. It's 97% confidence, and you'll actually learn how they're shopping, and it's drastically impacting the market in ways that people don't even realize right now. We have the rankings based on which AI platforms people are using most. Is it chat? Is it Google? Is it Claude? We will tell you that, but we're also telling you very specifically the 9 ways that they're shopping and that brands really need to pay attention to. Back to school is the first time where we've seen the numbers where the vast majority of people are shopping with AI. So this is kind of the precursor for the holiday season, and you'll want to be a part of this important webinar. So with that, we'll move on. Today, we're super excited to share our national study. Um, and I just want to share with you the background on how we pulled this together. So we conducted a national study. It's got 97% confidence. We did this online with 826 respondents, reflective of the US population. And what the findings are underscoring is a cautious shopper who is seeking added value to make their budget go further above all else. We were a little surprised at the findings. I think consumers are a little more optimistic, and that pointed us into a direction that we were surprised by, but will be very valuable for you here today. So let's jump into that. Okay, so the consumers are they're cautious. They've got cautious confidence, and the reason is it's inflation. So across the board, they're still somewhat positive, and we'll really dig into the numbers about the economy, and which actually surprised us a little bit because you hear a lot of news all the time that the economy's, going in a certain direction, and it's really hard for people. And it is. I mean, we're not saying that it's not, but really the big challenge for consumers is inflation, but they've gotten very, very smart in how they approach inflation, and it's changing the way they're shopping. So, Liz, I wanted to ask you specifically. You hear a lot from brands and consumers in your role here at Minty. Just any thoughts on this before we jump into the research?
Yeah, absolutely. So consumers are definitely starting to spend more now as we make our way through Q2. Towards the end of Q1 and kind of beginning of Q2, we did see a little bit of a holding pattern with some of the things happening from an economic perspective. When it comes to our brands, they're really starting to see the same thing. Brands are starting to bring promotions back into the fold while looking to protect their margins, engage more with their consumers, keeping the brand top of mind, knowing that consumers are a little bit more hesitant right now. So really trying to win them over from a trust perspective.
Great. And what our findings found, I'm going to really go down into it, but the consumer sentiment about the economy is mixed, and it actually leans more positive than negative. And that really is tied to income and, how certain people are doing, but we'll show you those numbers. The economic outlook over the next 6 months is also mixed. It's actually not as negative as what has been reported. And there were a couple of study or not studies, but reports released from the federal government a couple of weeks ago, and it pretty much aligned with this. Which we're not political here. We don't care which side of the fence anybody is on. We're neutral. But it did align with what we saw in our study, and a lot of that was criticized and said, well, that can't be accurate. But actually, it's exactly what we've seen in our study. Income is steady versus last year. Savings is steady and actually increasing some versus last year. Confident personal finances improve in the next 6 months. So a lot of people are confident that their personal finances are going to improve in the next 6 months. We'll share some of the charts with you here. Okay, so feeling about the US economy, 48% feel positive about the US economy, 41% feel negative, and 11% are neutral. So that's why we're saying there's cautious confidence. And that surprised us a little bit. We really felt like it was going to be more negative than positive, but clearly indicating that there's some positivity. There's a silver lining, and we'll get to that in just a minute. Next slide. The next thing is the US economy in the last 6 months, in the opinions of those surveyed, 47% said it's improved, 43% said it's worse than it was, 11% are neutral. When you look at household income compared to last year, 56% report that their household income is up. 27% said it's the same, and 17% said it's down. So we were really surprised by this. And we did talk to them about spending power, similar type numbers there as well. How much income are you saving? That's always a good indicator of the economy. 53% are saving more, 27% less, 21% neutral. Confidence in personal finances improving in the next 6 months. 54% are confident that their personal finances are going to improve. 26% are not confident, and 20% are neutral. So again, if you take the kind of neutral and the confident, those numbers are much higher than what you're typically hearing in the news. So there's cautious confidence, but there is something looming out there that is really concerning to consumers, and that is inflation. Inflation is changing shopping behaviors in a substantial way, and in ways that it hasn't before because AI is here now. And so if you think about COVID and what COVID did to mobile shopping and online shopping and amplifying creators and all the different ways that COVID changed it. Inflation right now is having a similar impact on the consumers. And AI is coming out. AI has been around for a long time, but mainstream AI is exploding and it's impacting the way they're shopping. Non-essentials and discretionary income are impacted most. Surprisingly, discretionary income was uh, non-essentials and discretionary income was impacted most, and we'll go into that. Liz, any thoughts here? Anything you want to share?
Yeah, thanks. So, like I talked about before, we're definitely seeing some hesitation on the consumer side, especially when looking at brands that are in that non-essential space, really highlighting how crucial it is for brands to keep their name top of mind with that consumer. Some of Minty's clients are seeing a lot more window shoppers, a lot more hesitation and longer sales cycles. So the more you can do to stay in front of them as they go through that thinking period, building that trust and loyalty, they'll want to come back and ultimately complete the purchase and stay a customer.
All right, so let's jump into this because I think these are really important numbers. So, concerned about inflation. 99% of everybody we surveyed are concerned about inflation. Now, there's, 6% are slightly concerned, 15% are moderately concerned. But look at that, very concerned and extremely concerned. People are concerned. Obviously, the price of gas is crazy, but it's getting crazy. But it's really this isn't even about gas. This is just the overall impact of inflation is having on people has unsettled them and is making them think and shop differently. Inflation is their number one concern with the economy. It's their number one concern, period, over job security, interest rates, housing affordability, investment stocks. There's a long list of other things, but way at the top is inflation. Ability to afford essentials versus last year. Now, this is really surprising. 45% said, oh, it's easier to buy essentials than it was last year. 28% said it's the same. So you have the majority of people saying it's the same or better than it was last year. 27% said it's harder to buy essentials. Now, essentials be, your groceries, your staples, the things that you have to have every day. But look at that. That's kind of weird because they're worried about inflation. They're really concerned, they're overly concerned about it, but the majority are saying, well, our essentials are easier to buy for us from a cost perspective, or at least the same. Okay, next slide. When you look at non-essential, they're getting hit a little bit harder, but 46% are saying they're easier to buy now, 34% are saying they're harder, and 19% say there's no change. So that says a couple things. That says people are covering their essentials first, and then they're looking at non-essentials. Now, if you think of non-essentials, what are non-essentials? Well, what do you not need to exist? I mean, you need clothing, but do you need all the clothing that you buy? Do you need all the apparel? Do you need all the accessories? Do you need the beauty? Do you need the cologne? Do you need the movie tickets? Do you need, concerts or whatever? Those are the non-essentials. So they're looking harder at pretty much everything else that doesn't help them just exist. And they're looking at it really hard. But it doesn't look, it's definitely harder for them than it is the essentials. But still, it's semi-optimistic if you take what's easier to buy, it's easier to buy now or there's no change. That's still the majority of people. So it's really kind of strange that you've got this inflation going on and you've got the consumers feeling this way. I wonder why that is. Let's take a look and see why that is. There's three ways that shoppers are adapting to inflation. So number one, they're buying less overall. And really, that's manifesting itself in buying slower. They're still buying. They've told us they're still buying. In fact, they told us a large portion of them are spending more than they were, but they're taking longer. They're being more methodical. They're being smarter in the way that they're shopping. They're using more discounts and promotions than they ever have, and we'll show you the numbers in here. The highest numbers I've ever seen. I've been doing these studies for a long time. I've been in fintech. Uh, I've worked for the largest creator platform, worked in a lot of different ways related to retail, and have done a lot of these studies. And this is the most discount promotion oriented time I've ever seen in the United States. And then they're buying cheaper brands. And are they brand loyal? Brand loyalty has been slipping for a while, but now it's really slipping. They're looking for alternatives at a moment's notice. Let's take a look at that. So, Liz, any thoughts here before we jump into the numbers?
No, I would love to poll the group really quick. So, you guys should all see a quick poll pop up. Would love for you to vote. Do you buy cheaper brands to help offset the rising costs of inflation that Rod's been talking about?
Yeah, so if you can, we'd like you to just answer this question really quickly. And we can't identify it to you personally. We don't know your own individual answer, but we're gonna hopefully this works. It'll work and
Yep.
calculate,
We'll
and
go
then we'll
ahead and
publish
let's
the results.
see.
Okay.
65% said yes.
So 65% of the people in this call are buying cheaper brands. Okay, so when we look at how the consumers are saving overall, we're going to get into that on the brands, but they are buying less overall, so they are slowing down a little bit. They're using more discounts and promotions. That's way up there. They're switching to cheaper brands, and they're delaying their purchases, and they're increasing use of credit. And I would say the really kind of the big one there, switching to cheaper brands. So you're starting to see more private labels, but you're also seeing because of AI, and you'll see this in the next study that we release, brands are finding niches that they never had before. Consumers are shopping on value, and the way they're shopping isn't just on price. They have so much intelligence at their fingertips now, they can really discern what intrinsic values a brand has or alternative brands have. And so it's no longer about the TV commercials and the internet ads on or social ads telling them that a brand is great. Those can work, but it's really much, much, much deeper. They're engaging with AI in ways that they haven't done before, and they're really seeing what the real value of something is to them personally. So you're seeing that come through here in these numbers. We'll share a few more of those here in just a minute. Next slide. Okay. 71% are opting for cheaper brands. And I think how many in our poll is 68%
Six,
here?
I think it was 65 or 68, somewhere in there.
65. Okay. So nationally, 71% are opting for cheaper brands, often versus leading name brands. So always or often is 71%. Sometimes is 24%. When you throw in that 24%, that's 95% of people are switching to cheaper brands when they have to. But really doing it frequently, you got 71%. 49% increased purchases in the last 3 months. So this is really kind of weird, isn't it? Like they're telling us, well, I'm shopping less. But you've got 49% have increased their purchases significantly. You will have another group that said they increased them somewhat, and that's almost half of all consumers are actually increasing their purchases. Then you got another group of people who are decreasing um, some, like 31%, and then no change. So they're telling us that they're buying less, but then they're telling us, no, I'm actually purchasing more, at least a large group is. How are they doing that? How does that work? All right, next slide. So they're doing it by being very smart in the way that they shop. They're using AI, they're looking for every value they can. So we ask them, we have a lot of different ways that we reward consumers. We help them find best price. We have cashback rewards. So we ask them, hey, are you using cashback and rewards um, in your online shopping? And actually, the question we asked wasn't even that heavy-handed. It was, what's the most important benefit of online shopping to you? And that was cashback and rewards. Shoppers expect savings to be embedded into the experience. Next slide. There we go. Okay, so most appealing reasons to shop online. Since I've been doing this, I've done it for a long time. Convenience was always at the top of the list. Sometimes, like during COVID, during the holiday seasons, people will say inventory is really important because I can't get it in the store, but I can get it online. I can get it shipped to me. Right now, the number one reason that people are shopping online is for added cashback and rewards. They're stacking rewards. They're using their credit cards, they're using discounts, they're using codes, they're using cashback, they're using every single thing they can to stack and get the most value they can, particularly on their non-discretionary income. Um, so pretty crazy. But if you just look at why people are shopping online, added cash back and rewards is number one. Convenience of shopping online, just pure convenience is number two. Exclusive or early access is number three. Personalized offers is number four. Trust and security is number five. All right. 94% are using digital savings and rewards. And we'll dig into this a little bit more. Liz, I don't know if you have any comments on this before we go forward.
Yeah, so what you're seeing here is one of Minty's offerings to our brand partners. So as shoppers are visiting the site, a lot of times, a few years ago, brands would have their pop-ups and consumers would shy away from them. But what we're seeing now is consumers are actually coming to the site and looking for these pop-ups or looking for these proactive offers. Minty has a solution that really helps the brand stay aligned to their site visitors in every step of the shopping journey. So we've got a way to help you get those consumers to the site, syndicating through LLMs. But then what you're seeing here is our Minty Prevent solution. So there's a one-click exit intent pop-up that will show on the site, typically allowing us to pre-fill that shopper's email and phone number where possible, giving them the least friction to complete the purchase simply by clicking that activate button. Really big benefit to our brand partners here is when the consumer clicks that activate button, that data now becomes first party data sent directly back to their CRM. So the ultimate goal here is giving them a better than site offer, really encouraging them to stay on the site and complete that purchase. And again, like I said, we're seeing a lot of consumers, they want to buy, they're kind of fighting with it in their head. So giving them this offer, they, will rethink their hesitation to leave.
Yeah, and I think a lot of UX directors, a lot of folks would say, why would I have another pop-up on my site? I've got my own pop-ups. Well, the way that Minty works, typically, we pop up to either people you can't identify or you've tried everything else, and then they see Minty and they know Minty, they've worked with Minty. Minty can identify them and personalize that offer, and then it pops on there. So we did ask consumers about would you use a product like this? And 90% will consider a savings or reward offer from an item they've been viewing on a website. So whether it's a pop-up or another product that Minty has is Recover, where brands may not know who bounced from their site. And typically that's the highest percent of bounces are unidentifiable customers. And Minty knows who they are, and Minty can go out there and message them. And just look at this, 90% will consider those kinds of savings and rewards. That's crazy. And what does that do when a brand is able to recapture that customer when they've bounced, and you've messaged them and you've said, hey, you just looked at that dress. It was on sale. What if you got an extra $10 off? Would you go back and buy it right now? And you address it to them personally with their name in it, and all they have to do is click and they go back. 90% will consider that. Again, thinking of the mindset of where people are, they're thinking about inflation. They're looking for every way to save. They've actually left a site because they didn't buy something. And then you've got another reward or offer to get them to come back. And they're unidentifiable to an e-commerce site, but they're visible to Minty. We can help you identify them and get them to go back. And we don't look at very specific transactions. We just say, hey, here's an offer with the retailer that you can go back and save extra, get extra cash back or have an extra savings to go back. So we're not invading anybody's, personal information there, but we know them because they're Minty shoppers. We know they visited the site and we can give them enhanced offers. Next slide. All right. They prefer email. So we ask them, hey, how would you like to receive savings and rewards and offers? Like, what are the best ways to do this? Um, Most of you probably know, but Minty has email, texting, shopping app, browser extensions, pop-ups on sites. There's a lot of different ways. These are the top ways, but really what's interesting is different people like different things. Some like to get email. In fact, the majority, just barely the majority, like to get email, but texting is big, shopping app is big, browser extensions are big. So really across the board, um, there was a time when it was, email, texting a little bit, app sometimes, browser extension was pretty low. Excuse me. But everybody's looking for savings and they're doing it in a variety of different ways now. In fact, we just did a demo for some folks that are going to be at our pop-up, the browser extension, and they're like, wow, this is so cool. I'm going to use this all the time because literally as they're shopping, not even thinking, they're just in the midst of shopping, they're actually experiencing savings. It just pops up. It's like, well, you're looking at this. Here's some savings that you can experience. All right, 82% would consider a pop-up bonus offer from a browser extension to save, which is pretty crazy. That's a really, really high number. But when you think about browser extensions, Minty has them with Safari and Google Chrome. Um, People they want wherever they're shopping and however they're shopping, they're looking for value and they're willing to carry along Minty for the ride or other products that use browser extensions. Okay, so Minty Prevent catches shoppers before they go. It surfaces personalized offers at the exact moment of exit intent. It turns abandonment into conversion. Liz talked about it. This is a little bit about, this is kind of what it looks like. It says before you go, get free shipping and 20% back. Maybe I found 3 coupons and up to 10% cash back at this retailer here. In this case, it's Macy's. There's a lot of different ways that we can work with brands related to the pop-ups, but the way to think about it is if you've tried everything that you possibly can and you know they're going to abandon, try Minty. And we can put the pop-up on there. If they go ahead and leave, then Minty can go out and get them to come back as well with Recover. All right. So before we get to the bottom line, Liz, other thoughts?
No, I think you covered it. I think the really important thing that we're hearing from our customers right now is Minty's ability to understand the consumers and really be a partner to the brands, knowing what's important to them, where they're investing their time, and how we can help them maximize their efforts without, trying to replace any existing things. We really become an extension of the team.
Great. Any other questions you want to ask anybody? Any polls or anything?
Yes, I have one really quick. Let me launch this. So, just curious, Rod talked a little bit about it a little bit ago, but do you yourself use digital savings or rewards programs when you shop?
So if you guys don't mind answering this, let's just see what everybody says.
See, give it a couple more seconds here. All right, let's go ahead. I will share those results. 87% said yes.
Holy cow. Yep. Well, that aligns with the study. That's awesome. All right. So if you want to close that out,
Oh,
we'll keep going here.
sorry about that. There we
That's
go.
okay. Okay. So what do we learn here from this study? And I do want to talk about, I want to share a few more insights from the study we have coming up. So we've got a few more pages here. Um, so inflation has reshaped how consumers seek value. Shoppers are digital savvy and value driven. And really to win in this game requires proactive added value. You've got to have personalized engagement and you've got to deliver in the channels that they prefer. Um, I wish that was all that had to be done, but there is more. There is much more. That's in the simplest terms. The next webinar that we're going to share with you on June 2nd is really focusing on how they're shopping with AI. And we get into the 9 ways they're shopping, and we literally break it down into the kinds of ways that they're using AI. In particular, when we talk about this, we're talking about LLMs, like what kind of phrasing are they using? What kind of problems are they trying to solve? If you think about how AI works and how much people are using it now and how important value is, then you realize if you don't have a strategy, particularly, back to school is really important, but if you think about the holiday season coming up, you have to get a strategy. Like it's imperative. And that might sound like, everyone's like, yeah, I know that. But like if you don't have it now, you need to get it really fast. And that's why we want you to come to this webinar. We want to share that information with you and sign up even if you can't come. Please do sign up. We'll be happy to send a study to you as well. And yeah, it's just really insightful. We've combed through, we see how people are shopping with AI, and it's not all Minty related. It's not like it's just our products. It's just absolutely a different way of shopping. And this is a watershed moment when you think back to COVID, when you think back, even before, like before people really shopped on the internet and then they started doing that. But I think this is the equivalent of COVID, where it's just changing the shopping behavior patterns in a way that no one has seen. At this point, you're going to see it in back to school, and then for holiday, you're going to just see it on super high levels. The most important thing is that you understand it, that you're able to address it. Um, Plugging Minty, we are the only savings app in ChatGPT. I won't share what the top LLMs are, but ChatGPT is definitely at the top, and you'll hear that in our study. All right, next slide. So let's unleash together. If you have questions, you can reach out to me, rod@minty.com. I'll be happy to pass along your questions to anybody in the org that you need to get in touch with. Also, if you want to learn more about Minty, you can go to business.minty.com. Liz, anything else for the team?
I had one last question, Paul, as we kind of wrap up now that we were talking about our back to school study and using AI when you shop. So, really would love to know, do you as a consumer use AI when you shop? And I think it'll be really interesting, Rod, to see these results as we kind of tail into our next study. So 33% said yes. So I think it'll be really interesting for everyone to see that this is really something new that's coming, but coming really quickly.
Yeah, and I would say the national study is significantly higher than that. Um, but all right, anything else before we go?
That was it.
Okay. All right. Well, we appreciate everybody being here. We're super excited about seeing you on June 2nd. Thank you so much for your time. And we will be sending you a video of this webinar, and we'll also be sending you the full study so you'll have today's study. And thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much, everybody.